9:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Before the break started, me and Mac looked at each other and said, we're so back.
Oh, yeah.
We're so
it's
back.
time.
We're so ready for this. I hope everybody had a very special J6 weekend, celebrating with the ones that you love. That time that the feds incited an insurrection. Weird.
Oh, my God.
What? You didn't do anything special?
No, I didn't celebrate, per se.
No?
What did you do?
Posted some tweets. Did some retweeting. Did some reposting. But one of the tweets that I posted was I said, "Happy J6, everyone."
I'm sure you were met with resounding, yeah.
Lots of likes.
Yeah, of course.
Lots
likes,
of likes.
reposts.
People liked it. And then I did that under a quote tweet. And it was the one of Donald Trump from January 6, 2021, where he said, "I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful. No violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect the law and our great men and women in blue. Thank you." Ah! I can't believe he tweeted that. The madman. He has to be stopped, and Democrats will try and stop him. They're trying to take him off the ballot. And we saw so much salt, so many tears from so many officials, including Elizabeth Warren. She tweeted out on January 6th, 3 years. Do we have any pianos or like sad music? Come on. We got to do better about this.
We've got, well,
I mean, if we don't, we could just do the X.
No, that doesn't work. That doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. How about let's just go with the X-Files conspiracy music because that fits too.
That fits well enough.
Yeah. 3 years since the January 6th insurrection. Democracy is still under threat. Donald Trump incited a mob to attack the Capitol, and Republicans in Congress continue to spread the big lie. We must protect democracy. That was High Chief Warren on Twitter on January 6th. Said High Chief because she pretends to be a Native American. You caught that,
got
right?
that. Yeah,
All
I got that.
So I sent her a GIF.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was a dude pouring a water bottle in his eye to pretend like he was crying. Vivek Ramaswamy tweeted, "Happy Entrapment Day." And I was like, "Oh, son of a gun, that was better than mine." I should have thought of that. Then Jamal Bowman, the guy that likes to pull fire alarms in Congress, like cause a ruckus. He also tweeted something out about J6. He said, 3 years ago at the Capitol, my colleagues and I... This guy's such a goon. 3 years ago today at the Capitol, my colleagues and I experienced the impacts of a planned insurrection administered by the former president who craved civil war. We must continue to protect our democracy and our sacred right to vote. The right to vote is sacred. So, by gosh, we got to make sure Donald Trump isn't on the ballot, right? Democracy's at threat, so let's take him off the ballot. That's what the Democrats are doing. SCOTUS will be hearing the Colorado case. They've taken it up, and I'm ready. Are you ready for that?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Democrat Rep. Jamie Raskin, he was asked about SCOTUS taking up the case, and whether or not they'll allow this to stand. And this guy started peddling conspiracy. It's like I thought we were the conspiracy theorists.
Already you can hear in the right-wing media about how Justice Kavanaugh owes him and they all owe Donald Trump. I mean, that is a mobster form of justice.
So already in right-wing media, we're saying that the SCOTUS judges owe Trump. Have you heard that at all?
I haven't. I mean, well, that one that I did hear about it, that one that he appointed, I guess.
Yeah, but it's just conservative judges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He appointed 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. Vast right-wing conspiracy. And it's mobster justice.
A mobster form of justice where it's not important what the law says, but what's important is which judge you know.
Oh, it's not important what the law says. Like how, Trump was never convicted for inciting an insurrection. That's not important, right? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. He says it's so weird.
And that, of course, is an essential attack on the rule of law and the idea that we're governed by the Constitution as the supreme law of the land.
Oh, we're governed by the Constitution as the supreme law of the land. So let's get rid of this guy for an insurrection that he was never found guilty of creating because of the Constitution.
It really does make sense if you just don't think about it.
All right. Calm down there, fella. I guess you're right. If you actually don't think about it, this makes a lot of sense.
This really just pans out.
Yeah.
They're just saying these people who Trump put on the court owe him. I think there's been a very coherent argument made already that Justice Thomas needs to recuse himself because he's obviously biased by virtue of his wife's participation in the insurrectionary politics of January 6th and the weeks leading up to it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That was her version of.
Yeah. And it said, by virtue of her inclusion in insurrectionary politics leading up to Jan 6th. That's the new thing? Is that what they're going to call thought crime now? Insurrectionary politics. It's thought crime. By virtue of Justice Thomas's wife having her own opinions and thoughts on the matter, he should recuse himself. And she should know better than thinking for herself. I thought Democrats are like pro-woman and letting them have rights and be able to think and vote and do things on their own. Weird. That's strange. You find that strange? I don't know. I thought it was strange. Nancy Pelosi was also talking about that dark day, and she was asked if she believes Trump is even eligible to be president. This is on ABC with George Stephanopoulos.
If you believe he engaged in insurrection under the plain meaning of the 14th Amendment, you believe he's ineligible to be president.
Those laws, those are up to the states. They have different laws from state to state. I don't think he should ever have been
the Constitution.
president. But nonetheless,
Is that another one of those things where if you don't think about it, that makes sense?
That makes sense, dude.
I feel like
that was eloquent.
It's up to the states. The states have their own laws. Well, this is the Constitution.
Those laws, those are up to the states. They have different laws from state to state. I don't think he should ever have been president.
The Constitution.
But nonetheless,
just manufacturing and malfunctioning in real time. It's like smoke started coming out of her ears.
She needs a new update.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, there is a view of the Constitution in Article 14, Section 3, that he should not be able to run for president. But that's not the point. The point now is that, again, different states have different laws. We don't think in California that it applied in our state. That's what the decision was made here. But anyway, not to go into that because that's very intricate.
It's
extremely intricate.
This is California. We didn't think it applied. The Constitution, it's viewed differently state to state. We're not going to get into it because of the intricacies involved.
Makes me feel a little better that it's intricate because I didn't understand any of what she was saying. That's just because of the intricacies.
This is true. I mean, it's so intricate that even she went full. Very intricate.
What a ridiculous clown show.
I know. It is. Very intricate, this whole process. Very intricate.
It applied in our state. That's what the decision was made here. But anyway, not to go into that because that's very intricate. What is very clear is that the American people want us to honor our oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
State to state, though, and how they view it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very intricate.
You wouldn't get it.
You wouldn't understand those dumb hick conservatives. Why would they wouldn't understand this. They wouldn't know why we let it happen in California. That's our state. Worry about.
Yeah, just don't think about that. 4870 texted in, we don't think in California. Full stop.
Yep. Checks out.
Bingo.
Yeah, as my daughter would say, makes sense. Makes sense.
Makes sense.
It does. It does. Nancy Pelosi had more to say. I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Don't get too
I got
excited.
to prep my again. Okay.
Don't get too excited. She was asked about the border, and she says she knows how to solve it.
So we have to handle this with care. We must secure our border, that's for sure. There's no question about that. But we also must honor our responsibilities in terms of asylum and the rest. And the president has that in his proposal. And what they say is, oh, it won't make a difference. No, it will make a difference.
Oh.
Let's get the job done. Let's do it soon.
Yeah. She doesn't say what's going to make a difference, how they're going to get the job done, or soon. Got to honor our asylum laws. You know, at least she didn't go full AOC. AOC over the weekend, she went full amnesty.
One of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to immigration is the fact that we have an undocumented population. Now, you can fix that by trying to build a wall, or you can fix that by trying to document people and create a path to citizenship.
Oh. The old,
And,
am I the only one that's seeing the old build bridges, not walls line coming back into play?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So the biggest problem with immigration is that these people are undocumented.
is the fact that we have an undocumented population.
Oh. That's the problem. So it's like, let's make them all citizens. It's intricate.
Again, man, just don't think about it. It makes sense. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Too intricate for you.
You're right. You're right. I'm an idiot.
At least we've learned something.
Yeah. You know, and at least, you know, they've been a little bit more toned down, right? Well, you know, they're calling us domestic terrorists and extremists, but in the nicest way possible. And Nancy Pelosi said that's because it's a campaign year. We have to be nice. It behooves us. This is what she said. It behooves us to be nice.
We have people who don't want to believe the truth for whatever attitudes they have otherwise. But again, during this period, this campaign year, it behooves us to speak with respect for all concerned in a unifying way to bring people together.
And then we'll put them in the re-education camps afterwards, right? Like, just this year, guys, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. For the next, you know, till November, till we do whatever we can to win that election, however you may think they're going to do it. Let's be nice. Then we'll get to the re-education camps that Hillary wants to make us go to, right? So it's intricate. It's intricate. Be nice now. Be nice now. Re-educate later, right? Because we don't understand the truth for whatever reason.
Don't want to believe the truth for whatever attitudes they have otherwise.
Yeah. For whatever reason. Who knows? It has nothing to do with the fact that they've been lying to us.
No.
No. This is intricate.
Again, this is very complicated.
Like, you know.
But that
Yeah. All right. Checks out.
If you start to think about it, just
Don't.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that's a good rule of thumb.
yes.
Don't get too upset. Just don't think. Whatever's making you upset, just put it out of your mind. Way too intricate.
Exactly.
Be like, don't. The Democrats aren't lying to you in your face, calling you dumb. You're just too dumb to understand.
Bingo.
Okay? So I'm glad we cleared that up. I was worried that it would have taken us a lot longer to 2024 to get to this point.
No, we got it.
Yeah. And if you don't understand, you're thinking too hard. Okay? Everybody clear with that? Perfect. All right, I feel good.
We learned a lot here, man.
I feel actually a lot better than I did coming into this.
For being such idiots, we learned quickly.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's good. I think that's a net positive. All right. 921 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, and occasionally Truth Social at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. And listen to us wherever you go with the TuneIn app or the iHeartRadio app. Just download them on your phone in the places where you download those things. You know, you're a grown-up. It's very easy.
You know the App Store.
And if it's too hard, just don't think about it. It's not. This is not as intricate as removing a president from a ballot. I promise you. Okay. 921. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Metro Police take a murder suspect into custody. Got some big issues to tackle during the upcoming General Assembly. We'll preview part of that. Also, the U.S. Supreme Court refuses to get involved in a case involving big tobacco. We'll tell you about it at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. There's nothing I like doing more than just shouting something inappropriate to Mac right before the newscast is over to throw him off.
Right before we go hot. It's beautiful.
It's like I always just do something dumb. So
I do that every half hour.
Oh, Ken, you got the best news in the business, bud. Don't be so hard on yourself. If you missed some of the tweets from January 6th, I really think you need to go to my profile. There's one. The Citizen Free Press posted this. This guy posted video of people walking in the Capitol on Jan 6 and staying in between the velvet ropes and all the things, and he dubbed in an overlay of an announcer in the Capitol.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the U.S. Capitol building. If you've joined us today for the insurrection, please make sure you pick up a promotional leaflet on the way in, stay inside the safety cordons at all times, and if you get lost, speak to one of our Capitol police officers. They'll be sure to point you in the right direction.
Everybody's just walking around nicely, snapping pictures.
And be sure to set aside a little time today to join us for some insurrection activities, including our photography tour, our fancy dress competition, and have a go on our climbing wall. But don't forget those safety ropes.
And then it starts showing the QAnon shaman.
And I've now received the results of our fancy dress competition. The winner today is Jacob Chansley. That's Mr. Jacob Chansley. If you could report to your nearest Capitol Police officer, they'll be sure to give you your prize, a guided tour of the building.
It's pretty remarkable stuff. So find my Twitter page. You'll see it there. Citizens Free Press put it out at Chris Hand on air. I got it retweeted on the main page. Plus, we have so much more to discuss, including how, did you know what Mike Pence said? Mike Pence was unsure that the FBI was involved in J6. In fact, he wasn't just unsure. He said that the FBI told him they weren't, so he's going to take them at their word.
So you're saying he didn't know?
How do you not know?
I don't know.
Oh. See, I missed the oop there. I missed the alley-oop.
I was like, come on, man.
Sorry. I was looking the wrong way. We'll dunk on him soon.
That's a turnover.
Before we play that audio, I want you to listen to the loaded question. Oh.
Not just President Biden, who's focusing on January 6th, of course. You have Donald Trump still talking about it. Do you want to just take this opportunity to clear up this lie that the FBI was leading the charge on January 6th? It's obviously not true. I'm sure you know it's not true. Do you want to make that clear to the voters?
It's not true. You know it's not true. Donald Trump is lying about it. Your thoughts, sir? It's the most loaded question ever from Jake Tapper. Mike Pence's response after the news with Ken Weaver, which happens right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Tell you about that tricky weather on the way. Right now in Nashville, a murder suspect is in custody. Metro Police say 43-year-old Corey Frazier was arrested and charged with criminal homicide for the shooting death of Richard Wilder on December 22nd. Wilder was found dead at the wheel of a wrecked pickup truck on Brick Church Pike right there before Christmas. Legislative session starts tomorrow. One of the big issues will be Governor Lee's plan to let families use state money to pay for private schools. Another topic sure to spark a lot of interest in Tennessee will be a proposed year-long tax holiday on diapers, wipes, and baby formula. And right now in our nation's capital, the U.S. Supreme Court refusing to take up a challenge to California's ban on the sale of flavored cigarettes like menthol. Tobacco manufacturers claim it could mean a loss of nearly $1.5 billion and thousands of jobs. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the things I've been hearing a lot from people lately is the concern about the dollar crashing. And you'll see this out there on the internet all over the place, articles written about it. And the idea is that the Russian and Chinese, those countries are looking at getting together and creating their own currency that will compete against the US dollar as a reserve currency. Now, for many, many decades, there have been other currencies that have been trying to vie for that status. And there's a possibility that you're going to have some that are going to encroach on that a little bit. But is it that big of a thing to worry about? Well, number one, last year, the Chinese currency made up very little of any kind of world trade, number one. But what is it that's really going on underneath the surface? A lot of it is trying to sell you newsletters and investments that you probably ought to stay away from. For example, one of the things I see is, well, you ought to buy gold because the dollar's going to crash. And you see all of these commercials out there, and I say, well, wait a minute, wait. They're trying to get you to buy gold with your what? They're looking to take your dollars. If they really believe what they're saying, why would they take your dollars for their gold? Number one. Number two, how do you protect yourself against these valuation changes in various currencies? Well, let me explain it this way. Let's say that you had a currency called the clam. Okay, and you had a country that had one clam and you could exchange it for $1 at any one point in time. Let's say that that's the case. And you had a widget that was sold by this country and you could buy that widget in that country for one clam. So you take your $1, you exchange it for a clam, and then you got your widget. Now, what if the dollar weakens? Well, what happens now, this clam is the same, right? Nothing different here. It's the same deal. But instead of $1, now it takes $2 to get the clam. Now, what happened? Your widget just doubled in price from your perspective as an American. Well, how do we use this to our advantage? As an investor, we want to make sure that we don't just myopically only focus on U.S. stocks. And that's a big mistake investors made from 2000 through 2010 and other periods in history, in the 1970s, the late 1980s, and so on and so forth. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we have good international diversification, because if the dollar weakens, then those international investments go up in value. So it's very, very important to know how globally diversified you really are as an investor. You want to learn more? Call us up for a free 15-minute consultation at paulwinkler.com, paulwinkler.com, and we'll walk you through what we do and see if we can be of help to you, the investor out there that is so often being sold things that they really don't need to be buying.
I think what you saw today was the president telling the American people what this election is going to be about, and that's whether or not democracy will remain the sacred cause of the United States of America.
Say the line, Bart.
Democracy is on the ballot.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Oh, yes, democracy's on the ballot.
That was perfect.
Did you know that? Did you know that democracy's on the ballot?
It's a bit too intricate for me, man.
You're right. Don't think about it. Yeah, I laughed a lot making this last night.
That's awesome. No, that's so good.
Played it like 15 times for my wife. I was like, what do you think of this? Like, you've already played it for me. Like,
no, I heard it.
Still funny, right?
Say the line, Bart.
Democracy is on the ballot.
Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it first.
Great.
Yep. Before the break, we were talking about Mike Pence. You know, with democracy being on the ballot, it's on the ballot because of that time that orange man launched an insurrection. Before we just before we get into that, I just also want to make it very clear: if Donald Trump did want to launch an insurrection, he could have. He could have. So that's pretty much it. Don't think about it too much. It's like he could have. He has that much support. The fact of the matter is he didn't. He wanted people to go patriotically and peacefully. The people that were in the crowd launching and inciting an insurrection, many people believe it was the FBI. Many people not including Mike Pence. Mike Pence does not believe that it was the FBI.
It's not just President Biden who's focusing on January 6th, of course. You have Donald Trump still talking about it. Do you want to just take this opportunity to clear up this lie that the FBI was leading the charge on January 6th? It's obviously not true. I'm sure you know it's not true. Do you want to make that clear to the voters?
Oh, yes. Thanks for the loaded question, Jake. I appreciate it.
You know, I've seen the director of the FBI repeatedly assure the American people that the FBI were not the instigators.
The director of the FBI. Let's start with that. The director of the FBI. It's a bastion of integrity.
Of the riot that occurred on January 6th. And frankly, I'm very grateful for the efforts of the FBI to bring nearly 1,000 people to justice who ransacked our Capitol and did violence against police officers that day. But you're right. We've been assured again and again that it was not the case. And I just must tell you, having been there that day, I mean, to see people literally breaking windows, ransacking the Capitol, it just infuriated me. I remember thinking, you know, not this, not here, not at the United States Capitol. And I believe everyone that conducted that riot at the Capitol needs to be held to the fullest extent of the law. I'm pleased that many have, but I've never been given any information. I've heard the many repeated assurances from the FBI that they were not involved, and I take them at their word.
Oh, you take the FBI at their word. Thanks, Mike. It's Mike Pence, everybody. A lot of people think that Mike Pence was in on it. You know, he's confident that the FBI didn't orchestrate Jan 6. But, you know, let me remind you, Pence was the guy that elbow bumped Pelosi after he certified the 2020 election for Joe Biden. People wanted him to send the Electoral College votes down for further review. He didn't. Said he didn't have the authority. But they did change the Electoral Count Act afterwards to prohibit that moving forward. Weird. And now Pence on record saying he doesn't believe the FBI was involved. Good to know. Maybe that's why he couldn't crack double digits in the GOP primary. No? Meh. Another guy that's not cracking double digits in the GOP primary, but a guy that we all seem to like, Vivek Ramaswamy, he takes the opposite stance, and he's calling the FBI out. You know, on numerous occasions, he says that the FBI was involved on J6, and over the weekend, he didn't hold back against the FBI once again.
The FBI, it's been rotten since its inception, and it was designed to actually be rotten to its core. And so what you see today isn't any surprise. It isn't a deviation from the purpose of the institution. It's actually an instantiation of the purpose of the institution. You cannot reform it. Forget about building the new building. Of course, that's a waste of time itself. You have to shut it down. I don't think we need an FBI. In fact, I think we patently need to not have an FBI.
So Mike Pence is saying, oh, the FBI told me, and I'm going to take their word for it. Meanwhile, Vivek Ramaswamy says, yeah, but get rid of him. Scrap it. Throw it on the trash heap. I obviously agree more with Vivek over Mike Pence. Mike Pence. Well, the FBI told me, so why wouldn't I believe him? Oh, they have no history of lying at all. Right? None. No, none. Vivek also talked about Javier Milei, and this one was like, okay, if Vivek ends up being the VP, I kind of like this guy, and this is what he said about Javier Milei, the new Argentinian president.
I'm going to make Javier Milei, I believe, look like a modern. I love Javier Milei. I think he's awesome. I've been following his campaign for a long time. We're going to put that on steroids in the United States of America.
Ooh, my body is ready. Now, on the flip side, we have people like Nikki Haley running. We have Ron DeSantis running. DeSantis actually took aim at Nikki Haley when he called her out for saying that she was inspired by Hillary Clinton. And you should call somebody out for being inspired by Hillary Clinton. Not that she really said it. Like, I get it. Women in politics. Yep. But the fact that she said she didn't say it.
Reagan, not Margaret Thatcher. She said Hillary Clinton was her inspiration for running for office. We don't need another Hillary Clinton in this country. I can tell you that.
Your response to that, Ambassador? I never said she was an inspiration.
I never said she was an inspiration. That's what Nikki said. Did you know that she never said that? Well, okay. To be fair, she never said it except for that one time she said it. Okay.
Clinton's nomination was obviously historic in that she was the first woman nominated for president by one of the major parties. I didn't know her, although I had met her several years before at a women's professional event in Greenville, South Carolina. At that event, she had inspired me to run for office and make my voice heard, and in some ways, she remained inspiring.
Okay, so it was only 2 times that she said Hillary Clinton was inspiring to her. Okay? I just don't understand why Nikki Haley feels the need to lie. Like, if you're going to say it, just own it. And you can own it in a way that a lot of conservatives probably would give you a pass. If you said, listen, she ran for president. She's the first female to be the Democrat nominee for president. A lot of people thought she was going to win. That is inspiring for females in politics. And I would give her a pass. Who wouldn't? But the fact that she has to lie about it and say, I never said that. What? Who said that? Who said that? Well, Nikki has a history of flip-flopping. This is just Nikki Haley for you, in a nutshell.
I would not run if President Trump ran. I'm Nikki Haley, and I'm running for president. I will not now, not ever, support raising the gas tax. Let's increase the gas tax by 10 cents over the next 3 years.
Every person on social media should be verified by their name. That's, first of all, it's a national security threat.
That I never said government should go and require anyone's name.
False. So I think China's been a really great friend of ours. Yes, I view China as an enemy.
That was not what I intended to say. I do not think we need to pull money from the UN.
The UN, the only thing is we would defund the UN as much as possible.
How can you trust this woman running for president? She just puts her finger in the air and she'll change her opinion. This is who she is at her core. And again, I'll give you a pass on some of the old ones, you know, like maybe your opinions change over time. Maybe, and I'm guilty of it myself. I allow my opinions to change with new information, but this is a repeated pattern with her. And she can't own her mistakes. Do you want somebody in office that can't own their mistakes? Nikki Haley. And that wasn't even the most wild stuff that was floating around on the internet over the weekend with Nikki Haley. She was asked if she would pardon Hunter Biden. And the craziest part about it is that she didn't say no. Like the easy answer, if the question is, would you pardon Hunter Biden? Would be, how about no? No. But she can't just say no. Because again, she's putting her finger in the air. seeing which way the political winds are blowing, and she's trying to be cautious as she can because she doesn't have any real opinions of her own.
I'm not going to get into whether we pardon Hunter Biden or not. Let's wait and see what the charges are. But at this point, you have to go and look at every case individually. And I don't think it's responsible just to throw out whether you would do something like that on someone's son when we don't know all the details.
Oh, yeah. It's not responsible. It's not responsible. How about you just say, no, I would not pardon him. That's easy, right? Wouldn't it just be easy to say, no, I'm not going to pardon Hunter Biden? I got a Nikki Haley flyer in the mail.
She won't stop. She won't stop contacting you, man.
Bro, she texts me all the time. Now she's mailing letters to my house. I'm like, my wife lives here.
Catch a hint,
Stop.
Nikki.
Stop. Yeah.
My wife lives here.
My wife lives here.
Come
What are
on,
you
have some
doing?
decency.
Leave me alone. So she sent me the flyer. I'm like, what is this for? What are you doing besides wasting money?
Yeah, flyer.
I saw a car with a Nikki Haley bumper sticker. I've seen one Nikki Haley bumper sticker.
Wow.
Tried to get a look at the driver. Windows were tinted.
Dang. That's one more Nikki Haley sticker than I've seen.
So I'm leaning on the horn, right? And I'm saying, pull over. I want to have a conversation. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that at all.
I need to talk to you.
I need to know what you're thinking. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. I don't suggest you do that. But this is Nikki Haley. Why would you put a Nikki Haley the only thing more embarrassing than a Nikki Haley sticker on your car is a faded Biden sticker. So it's the same sticker. I feel like that Office meme. You know, corporate wants you to decide between the two pictures.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same picture. I'm looking at the same picture. The Cantaloupe News. Do you follow Cantaloupe News on Twitter?
No, I don't.
All right, so they posted this funny thing, dude. I was cracking up. It said Nikki Haley is studying for her debate against Ron DeSantis because that happens on the 10th. That happens Wednesday on CNN. DeSantis Nikki Haley debate on CNN. Woo!
Wow.
Talk about three things to get you fired up.
Nikki Haley, DeSantis, CNN. Be there.
That's a triple threat, baby. So Cantaloupe News is a Twitter account I follow. They're funny. Said sources: Nikki Haley has been preparing for the upcoming debate by trying to find Ukraine on a map. Then it said the next tweet said update. She found it. A minute later, it said update. Never mind. She was pointing at Ohio.
It's ruthless.
Do you want Ohio accidentally bombed? That's what a Nikki Haley presidency would look like.
Great.
Yeah, big Nikki Haley fan. Who isn't?
Surging.
Nikki Haley. So Laura Loomer, who's a reporter, she's a big Trump supporter. She was going around to different campaign events. The DeSantis campaign kicked her out of the campaign event. She's a conservative reporter.
Wow.
The Nikki Haley campaign kicked her out of an event.
Wow.
Like, these are your conservatives.
Eesh.
Kicking people out of their events. For what? For wrong think? Like, if you know somebody's coming in there and you know they might cause a disturbance, how about you just get ready with a zinger? And then you kick them out. You know what I mean? Like, know that the viral moment might come and take advantage of it in your favor. But the problem is, like, these people have no personality. They have no fight in them, and they're not ready for anything like that. Lousy. 9:51, it's Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Israel kills another terrorist leader, and a busy morning for firefighters here in Tennessee. Also, doctors and nurses busy, talking about increasing flu numbers. These stories and more coming up at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm getting response to Nikki Haley.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we played that clip about her saying that she basically saying, she was asked, would you pardon Hunter Biden? And she says, well, she can't say no. She dances around it.
I'm not going to get into whether we pardon Hunter Biden or not. Let's wait and see what the charges are. But at this point, you have to go and look at every case individually. And I don't think it's responsible just to throw out whether you would do something like that on someone's son when we don't know all the details.
So I don't think you could do that on someone's son. This is why I love the super texters, and I love you guys so much. 7885 texts in something that I missed. Says, you're missing the point about the Nikki Haley saying she's not going to talk about whether she would pardon Hunter Biden. She refers to him as someone's son.
And I don't think it's responsible just to throw out whether you would do something like that on someone's son.
Someone's son. She refers to him as someone's son. Clearly, she doesn't think his crimes should be considered apart from President Biden. And that's a big problem. To which I said, good catch. Then 0559 texted in and said, I like Nikki. So I said, why? Not being rude, genuinely asking. And they replied, I like her demeanor and experience. Okay. Cool. I don't know. I don't know. Demeanor and experience? Not my style. Not my style. But thank you for answering. 0559. Appreciate you. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ten o'clock on the dot this Monday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got two weather makers coming this week. Could make the commute tricky. We'll tell you about the first one during the full forecast in 2 minutes. We have hit the 3-month mark since Hamas murdered Israeli citizens in their sleep, leading to the war in Gaza. Jordana Miller says it's not just Hamas Israel's having to deal with these days.
Hezbollah says an Israeli airstrike has killed one of its elite commanders in southern Lebanon. The targeted attack that torched an SUV sure to increase fears the Gaza war may spread to Israel's northern border. It comes a day after Lebanon struck an Israeli army reconnaissance base, causing extensive damage. The volley of attacks, including missiles and drones, intensifying since last week's alleged Israeli assassination of a top Hamas leader in Beirut.
That's Jordana Miller reporting there. By the way, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is set to arrive in Israel today as those tensions threaten to spill over into a wider conflict. Right now in Nashville, busy morning for firefighters. Here's Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac, where the first of 2 house fires broke out.
5 people live here, and they were all able to make it out okay. And there was one firefighter who actually was taken to the hospital to be treated for injuries. He's being checked out due to heat-related injuries, according to the Nashville fire chief.
Meanwhile, TBI is investigating after a 5-year-old child died in a house fire in Cumberland County. Health news you might want to know about. Here's Derek Dennis.
The CDC says respiratory illness is either elevated or increasing across most areas of the country, with 38 states plus New York City seeing high or very high levels. That's up from 31 states last week. And flu hospitalizations continue to increase, up 35%, with some 10 million cases, 110,000 hospitalizations, and 6,500 flu-related deaths so far this season. Hardest hit by the flu, older adults over 65. The CDC estimates flu infections are growing or likely growing in 47 states.
Right now, Davidson County in the very high category for flu-like illness, according to the CDC. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
10:04 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You know, I'll tell you what. On the Super Text line, DeSantis bros show out. They stick up for Ron. I say something negative about Nikki Haley, and the worst I get is I like Nikki. That's it. So I've been arguing with DeSantis bros instead. I didn't even say anything really mean about DeSantis this time, did I?
You really didn't. I thought you gave him more of a compliment.
Yeah, I can't even remember what I said. Anyway.
Well, you're saying that he came at Nikki too, kind of.
Yeah, he called her out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Activate hand gesture.
Activate hand gesture. That's what it is. So, well, I said that, Laura Loomer was kicked out of the DeSantis campaign stop in Iowa. I was like, why not use that to your advantage? Why kick her out? And I got a text that said, Laura Loomer, the gist of it is that Laura Loomer's a nut. Like, yeah. Shouldn't you use that to your advantage? Instead, they kick her out. And Laura Loomer, who you can, by all means, make the argument that she is a nut. She has a large social media following, and she gets DeSantis trending on Twitter for kicking reporters out of his campaign event. Nikki Haley did the same thing, trending on Twitter, kicking reporters out of her campaign event. Why? If you know she's a nut, you know she's going to come in and do something, be ready, be prepped. But they weren't. They didn't do that. So, and somebody said 9673. We're going back and forth. Good guy. It wasn't saying anything mean or anything like that. But said he'd vote for Trump if he wins the primary, but he's rolling with DeSantis because he watched what he did in Florida. Why? Tell me why you think Ron's not fit for the job. So I said, weak, no energy, no charisma. I don't think he'll fare well in the general. He's Romney-esque, funded by the same people that fund the Bushes. His social media team is abysmal, mean, and untalented. He can't hire the right people for his campaign. How can we expect him to hire the right people for the White House? So, I mean, I don't know. Somebody wants me to explain how Laura Loomer's a nut. I don't personally think she's the nut. I just know that people can make that argument. But that aside, why would you kick her out of a campaign event? So, you know what I mean? I don't know. But these are the top contenders to President Trump. DeSantis and Nikki Haley. On the other side of the fence, we have another guy who is he a top contender? I mean, I guess so. Biden gave his, fiery democracy speech. It was fiery on January 5th. All right, let's take a little listen to what Biden gave us. Trying to say orange man bad and all the things.
He told the crowd to fight like hell, and all hell was unleashed. He promised he would right them.
Promised he would right them? Did Trump promise that he would right J6 prisoners during his speech? I don't recall that.
Everything they did, he would be side by side with them.
Democracy's on the ballot, right? During his speech, he doesn't mention the border at all. He doesn't mention, China at all. He doesn't mention the economy at all. It's just orange man bad. It worked last time, so let's go back to the well and see if we can run it back. This is Joe Biden.
America, as we begin this election year, we must be clear. Democracy is on the ballot.
Said the thing. We should get a jar in the studio and put a quarter in it every time he says it's about democracy.
Oh, great.
Then we could have a pizza party.
Yeah.
every time it fills up, we'll have a pizza party.
We'll have enough for stuffed crust and everything,
Dude,
man. Yeah, we'll be good to go.
I love it. Maybe get some cheesy bread. Good pizza too, you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It would happen quick.
I'm ready. Yeah. Let's do it.
Find a jar. This is Joe Biden for you, though. The Biden administration, they want to force you to take a vaccine. They don't want you to look at the border. They have topless transgender activists on the White House lawn. He leaves our military behind in Afghanistan. He stares at his watch during their funeral, and he wants to remind you that this is about decency and dignity and all the things. Seriously.
Together, we can keep proving that America is still a country that believes in decency, dignity, honesty, honor, truth.
Thanks, Joe. Nailed it. Nailed it. Ay caramba. This is our president.
We have to make our choice. I know mine, and I believe I know America's. We'll defend the truth, not give in to the big lie. We'll embrace the Constitution and the Declaration, not abandon it.
Wait, what are we embracing?
We'll embrace the Constitution and the Declaration, not abandon it.
The Constitution of the Declaration?
We'll embrace the Constitution and the Declaration, not abandon it.
Okay. But didn't Nancy Pelosi say the state to state on how you view the Constitution?
We'll honor the sacred cause of democracy, not walk away from it.
Okay. That's Joe. It's Joe doing Joe things. Meanwhile, Trump was doing his speech in Iowa on January 6th. You know, Joe, I believe, did his on Friday because of bad weather. Trump was in Iowa on January 6th doing his speech, and he brought up the fact that Joe Biden calls him a threat to democracy.
You know, this guy goes around and says, I'm a threat to democracy. No, he's a threat because he's incompetent. He's a threat to democracy. You know, you can be grossly incompetent and be a threat to democracy because he's got us into wars. We're in wars now. You look at the Middle East.
And I would argue that it's not just Joe Biden that's grossly incompetent. It's his entire administration. I mean, we found out over the weekend that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was hospitalized in ICU. And he hid that from Biden and others in Washington, D.C. His entire administration's incompetent. But Mayorkas says the border's secure, the border's wide open. But back to Lloyd Austin, Washington was in collective shock on Sunday as we were getting more information about Lloyd Austin, our defense secretary, being admitted to the hospital's intensive care unit for days. He was in there for days, intensive care. And he failed to disclose it to the president, the national security advisor, members of the Congress, and the public. It got me thinking, is everybody in these leadership positions just figureheads? Seriously. They say the disclosure raised serious questions about not just for Austin and his judgment, but also for President Joe Biden, how he could have been unaware that his defense secretary was partially incapacitated for several days. While we have military confrontation between U.S. troops and Iran-backed proxy groups heating up in the Middle East, threatening a bigger crisis. The U.S. had just last Thursday warned the Houthis to stop targeting U.S. military and commercial ships in the Red Sea. Then, the same day, the U.S. military conducted a drone strike that killed Iran-backed militia leader in Iraq. So who ordered the strike? Adding to that fiasco, the Pentagon refused to say why Austin was admitted to the hospital, citing a desire for privacy. Austin issued a statement on Saturday saying that he understood the media concerns about transparency and conceded he could have done a better job ensuring the public was appropriately informed. Probably could have done better. Don't worry, though. He says, I commit to doing better. All right, cool. Let's close that one. He apologized. He said he'll fix it. Move it on. He also added, but this is important to say, this was my medical procedure, and I take full responsibility for my decisions about disclosure. Okay. That doesn't explain why Biden wasn't told, why Jake Sullivan wasn't told. It doesn't explain why we had to learn over the weekend with the drip, drip, drip method. And on Saturday, CNN reported that Austin had not even told his own Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks, his number 2. He didn't tell her that he was hospitalized until Thursday, January 4th, despite transferring some of his duties to her on January 2nd. That information came to light after NBC News reported that the number 2 who was supposed to be in charge was on vacation in Puerto Rico. The entire administration is grossly incompetent. Grossly incompetent. And I know we're going to find out more about Lloyd Austin. I have read it was an elective surgery. It was an elective. Landed him in ICU. Oh, Brent texted that in as well. Yeah, I saw it was an elective surgery as well. Crazy. It's a crazy story. But we'll see more. It'll drip, drip, drip. That's how they do things. We also got a text from 4978. Says we should put a quarter in the jar. We were talking about putting a quarter in the jar every time Biden says democracy's on the ballot.
Yeah, for a pizza party.
4978 says we should put a quarter in the jar every time he says something stupid.
Oh.
That would be like filet mignon party.
Yeah.
We'd be having steak.
That'd be like Bezos better watch out party.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
We buy Amazon. 6135 said, darn it, man, my texts aren't making it there. So I just wanted to let you know they are.
They are. We got you, bro.
We got you. A lot of people are wondering if Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was doing transition surgery. Yeah, I heard everybody in the cabinet is, and they're going in alphabetical order. So Austin was just the first one to do it. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think. Would it shock me? Would you be shocked?
I guess not. I don't know.
No, it'd be brave.
Courageous.
Brave and stunning. We could all learn something from that kind of bravery.
Kevin says it was liberal affirming surgery.
Liberal, he's had that.
Oh, he's been affirmed.
Yeah, he's been affirmed on that. Oh, Donald Trump goes on.
Under crooked Joe Biden, our borders have been absolutely erased. Millions of illegal aliens are invading from all over the world are invading. It's like a military invasion. It might as well be a military invasion. But they're invading our country. Our middle class is being crushed by Biden's crippling inflation. Violent criminals are running wild in Democrat-run cities.
Yeah, Democrat-run cities are. I mean, we have violent criminals everywhere. And you know, we hear a lot about these big blue city mayors talking about the invasion of illegal aliens, but we don't hear these blue city mayors talking about the actual crime that they're dealing with. You know, they're blaming Republicans. And when you hear from a big blue city mayor like the D.C. mayor, is it Muriel Bowser? Miss Bowser. She went on a Talking Head show over the weekend, and she decided to talk about removing Trump from the ballot. So not how to fix her city, just.
Do you think he should be barred from any ballots given his actions on January 6th? Well, I support every state taking very aggressive action to keep him off the ballot. He is undergoing, court action across America.
Why is a Democrat city mayor discussing national stuff? Like with the amount of problems in D.C., why did they invite her on to say, hey, let's talk about Trump coming off the ballot? Like with everything happening in D.C., and I don't know if you're up to speed on D.C., absolutely falling apart. We got elected officials being carjacked. Rampant crime. In fact, a bunch of stores in D.C. are closing. They close early now. And other stores are closing outright in general.
Five Below, next door to where that flyer is posted, now closes early at 5. And on January 14th, they're shutting down for good. At Target, this sign warns minors they need to be accompanied by an adult. And across the street at CVS, this security guard is now patrolling totally empty shelves.
So the shelves are empty at CVS in D.C. You can't go into Target if you're under 18 without being accompanied by an adult. And the mayor of D.C., instead of addressing those problems in her city, goes on to talk about removing Trump from the ballot and defending democracy. Just defend your city. Just start small. Got to clean your room before you change the world.
I mean, it's frustrating for sure. It was nice to have like a convenience store that was actually convenient, but they can't keep anything in stock just because it gets stolen off the shelves.
And if you're looking for laundry detergent, you won't find it at CVS, but you will find it at this street vendor right outside, out in the open.
So all the laundry detergent in D.C. at CVS is being stolen. And then there's a guy set up with a table outside of CVS selling stolen laundry detergent in the streets. But the D.C. mayor is focused on what's important, which is removing Trump from the ballot and talking about that, right?
How much for the game?
Game, you can give me $10.
$10? Is it cash
Good
only?
deal.
I'll take cash out.
Okay.
No card.
Okay, got it. Where does it come from? Where does it come from?
You're asking too many questions, bro. where does all this come from? It's definitely not the CVS behind me, I promise you. The CVS with no more laundry detergent in D.C. But
What's the deal with laundry detergent?
It's expensive, bro.
I guess it is really expensive.
I feel like that would be a harder item to steal.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess in like some of these Democrat cities, you can steal whatever you can carry.
Walk out.
Yeah. I would actually just, I would be like, no more shopping carts.
Carry everything.
You know what I mean? Yeah, because they're taking the shopping carts too. Maybe that problem will work itself out. You know?
It's intricate.
It's intricate. I don't want to pretend to understand. I have more audio from Donald Trump and his speech in Iowa. Hang out with us. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you have water in your crawl space, wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors, that is your house trying to tell you something. And if you haven't been down in your crawl space in a while, well, after we get this rain rolling through, it'll be a good time to poke your head down there and see if you're noticing that standing water. And if you are, you got to call the guys at USS. Now, I don't want you to take my word for it. Why don't you take Rod and Cindy, their word for it? They actually had USS come out to their home over Christmas, and they said that this was the best Christmas gift ever. After having actual nightmares about their old farmhouse caving in, USS told them not to worry. The house is fine. It has good bones. They wish they had called sooner for their free estimate instead of making themselves crazy with anxiety. Be anxious for nothing. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Thank you to Chad at USS. Well, if you need Chad to come check out your home, you should do it now. Don't wait. And there's thousands more stories. Thousands more like Rod and Cindy's. In fact, 25,000 more. And these guys have been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. So if you find yourself in a situation, you need to call USS. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or online, USSTN.com.
Weather on the way, not good for Middle Tennesseans still using tarps to cover tornado damage. And in Florida, we had a mall shooting and one person's in custody. Hear from the police chief there. These stories and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, at Chris Hand on air. And don't forget, you can listen to us wherever you go with the TuneIn app, the iHeartRadio app, all the things. It's in the App Store. I had explained it, but it's intricate, so I don't want to dive in the weeds. You know what I mean?
Too confusing for a Monday.
Way too confusing. We'll get to it by like Wednesday. We'll give you a step-by-step come Wednesday. Promise. We were talking about Donald Trump being in Iowa. He was giving his speech, and you know, the Democrats, they love to say, you know, we're trying to do things on the border. And Trump called out Democrats for not finishing the wall.
All of this wall sitting there, very expensive, sitting on the ground, ready to be flipped up. It could have been done in a 3-week period, and they say, we don't want to do it. I said, that's strange. That means they actually were serious that they want to have open borders. That's the first time I really believed it. And now you see the result. Millions and millions of people. Last quarter, 300,000. That's larger than probably almost all of your cities in your state. 300,000 people over actually a 2-month period, less. A 2-month period, 300,000 people poured into our country. And nobody knows, most people have never even heard of the countries from where they came, all over Africa, all over Asia. They come from different parts of Europe. They come from the Middle East. A lot of people coming from the Middle East. And a lot of these people are young, strong men. Military age. Isn't that shocking?
Isn't that shock? Are you shocked by that? In Arizona, at one of their border sectors, they've apprehended 30,000 illegal aliens in the last 2 weeks. 30,000. Unbelievable. That was in Tucson. 30,000 during the weeks of Christmas and New Year holiday. The surge of these illegal aliens in the Tucson sector in recent weeks continue to break long-standing records. On January 5th, the John R. Maudlin, U.S. Border Patrol chief in the Tucson sector, he said, we can review. 13,800 apprehensions, 89 federal criminal cases, 11 rescues, 6 human smuggling events, 6. 2 significant arrests, 2 narcotics events. But they'll tell you it's fine. It's nothing to worry about. Secretary Mayorkas is going to visit the Texas border on the eve of impeachment proceedings. I'm going to ask Murphy if we can call that impeachment eve. What do you think? You think he'd be fine with that?
Oh, yeah. I think he'd love that.
Impeachment eve?
Impeachment eve.
Impeachment eve. It's a special event.
Yes. Yeah. It fills his criteria.
It fits the criteria for Murphy. Impeachment eve.
He's going to love that.
Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas will be visiting the border region with a quick stop in Eagle Pass, on Texas today. And he's going to be there just 2 days before he's slated to appear for impeachment proceedings before the House Committee on Homeland Security. He's running through on impeachment eve. Do you think they're going to clean everything up for him before he gets there, the way they do it for the GOP, the way they do it for Joe Biden? Probably. Yeah, probably. It always blows my mind how quickly they can clean things up when anytime a big politician or somebody's coming through. But for the local citizens there, they just don't care. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. On the way, I got more audio from that Trump speech in Iowa. Hang out with us right now. Ken Weaver in the news.
Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. You're going to want to hear about the weather on the way. It's not good for Middle Tennessee and still using tarps to cover exposed parts of homes damaged in the December 9th tornado outbreak. Channel 4 says part of Martell Souter's home was ripped off during that outbreak, leaving her upstairs exposed.
The tarp may not make it. I think the roof is okay. I think he covered that pretty good. But it's a pretty big piece of tarp.
Highest winds will blow tonight through tomorrow, so there is some time to secure tarps and anything else you need to secure before this weather rolls in. Right now in Florida, Ocala Police Chief Mike Balkin says they captured Albert Shell Jr., accused of killing another man in a targeted attack at a mall overnight, shooting an innocent bystander, too.
About 1 o'clock this morning, I believe it was, I was notified that we had his whereabouts pinned down. Law enforcement surrounded that house, ultimately negotiated with Mr. Shell for about 2 hours. He ultimately came out and surrendered without incident.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, folks, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the things I've been hearing a lot from people lately is the concern about the dollar crashing. And you'll see this out there on the internet all over the place, articles written about it. And the idea is that the Russian and Chinese, those countries are looking at getting together and creating their own currency that will compete against the US dollar as a reserve currency. Now, for many, many decades, there have been other currencies that have been trying to vie for that status. And there's a possibility that you're going to have some that are going to encroach on that a little bit. But is it that big of a thing to worry about? Well, number one, last year, the Chinese currency made up very little of any kind of world trade, number one. But what is it that's really going on underneath the surface? A lot of it is trying to sell you newsletters and investments that you probably ought to stay away from. For example, one of the things I see is, well, you ought to buy gold because the dollar's going to crash. And you see all of these commercials out there, and I say, well, wait a minute, wait. They're trying to get you to buy gold with your what? They're looking to take your dollars. If they really believe what they're saying, why would they take your dollars for their gold? Number one. Number two, how do you protect yourself against these valuation changes in various currencies? Well, let me explain it this way. Let's say that you had a currency called the clam. Okay, and you had a country that had one clam and you could exchange it for $1 at any one point in time. Let's say that that's the case. And you had a widget that was sold by this country and you could buy that widget in that country for one clam. So you take your $1, you exchange it for a clam, and then you got your widget. Now, what if the dollar weakens? Well, what happens now, this clam is the same, right? Nothing different here. It's the same deal. But instead of $1, now it takes $2 to get the clam. Now, what happened? Your widget just doubled in price from your perspective as an American. Well, how do we use this to our advantage? As an investor, we want to make sure that we don't just myopically only focus on U.S. stocks. And that's a big mistake investors made from 2000 through 2010 and other periods in history, in the 1970s, the late 1980s, and so on and so forth. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we have good international diversification, because if the dollar weakens, then those international investments go up in value. So it's very, very important to know how globally diversified you really are as an investor. You want to learn more? Call us up for a free 15-minute consultation at paulwinkler.com, paulwinkler.com, and we'll walk you through what we do and see if we can be of help to you, the investor out there that is so often being sold things that they really don't need to be buying.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're having fun. Mac is in the producer studio watching The View.
Oh, yeah, man. Daily dose of whoopee. I need it.
I walked in there. I don't walk in there very often. Usually just yell at him through the window.
Yeah.
We have a nice window that separates us. But I usually just look at him through the window, and I say mean things that way. But today I felt the need to go in there and say mean things.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you watching? Like,
sorry, man.
Why
I don't
is
change
this
the
on?
channel.
It doesn't exactly. The channel doesn't change.
Nope.
That's how important The View is.
Locked in.
So funny. You don't need to. It's not appointment viewing when it's on all the time. All right. We were talking about Donald Trump giving his speech in Iowa. He made some comments. He called out the Dems for not finishing the border wall. The border wall was a big point of his speech and border security in general. And he made the point. People are coming in from all over the world.
We had 27,000 people, the last report, 27,000 people coming in from China between the ages of 20 and 25. That sounds a little suspicious, doesn't it?
Weird.
What this guy has done to this country, you have no idea. It's just horrible. And then he says that I'm bad for democracy. He's bad for democracy for another reason. He's incompetent.
I would argue that calling Joe Biden incompetent at this point is almost a compliment. Because I think he's doing a lot of this on purpose. Or at least the people pulling the strings, right? That's the other thing. It's like, is Biden even pulling the strings? We could have that conversation for an hour. But to call him incompetent, it seems like that's a compliment. Means, he just can't get the job done. But Trump makes the point. We have 27,000 people that have come in from China. China.
China?
China.
China?
That's right. China.
China?
Yep. 27,000. War-fighting aged men from China.
China?
That's right. China. It's weird. China. And when this is happening, what is being done about it? This isn't going to end well. There's an interview that's been floating around on the internet of an illegal alien from Iran, and he gives an interview with Rav, Real America's Voice, and it's fantastic. And he brings up the China problem as well. This is, and mind you, this is a guy that snuck into the country illegally.
If I was a governor here, I would be afraid because all of these people in China, military age, India, military age, even myself, I'm military age. And there's a question is coming up in here. One scary question. If an incident between US and China occur in Taiwan, what these people do? Or they come aside of US or they take China's side? Don't know. And no one's know.
I think that we know. I think we know. China's getting ready for war. Are we doing the same? Because it seems like every time I turn around, we're talking about how great China is. We're inviting them into San Francisco, cleaning up the streets. Meanwhile, there's a story that came out in Business Insider on January 5th, the afternoon on Friday. Satellite images show China made an apparent Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier target out in the desert. China has a new carrier-shaped target, and it looks like the U.S. Navy's Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier. Satellite images show the suspected target on a range in the desert. The mock-up may be opportunities for China to test elements of its growing missile force. It's a little scary, right? China's getting ready at every turn. They have police stations in our country, biolabs in our country. 27,000 war-fighting men sneaking across our wide-open southern border, and now new satellite images have captured what appears to be a mock-up of the U.S. Navy's Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier on a range in a Chinese desert. The carrier-shaped object, like some of the others in the area, is most likely there for target practice. allowing China to test its increasingly formidable missile force and may highlight Chinese efforts to build a force capable of keeping America's warships at bay. The satellite images were taken on January 1st by Planet Labs, and they show the apparent target in the Taklamakan Desert. Probably butchered that. Is it Taklamakan?
I don't know.
All right. The war zone, which first reported on the satellite images, said the suspected target appeared to match the shape, size, and certain details of the USS Gerald R. Ford. The Planet Labs image showed the island more aft than Nimitz-class carriers and the 4 catapult tracks marked on the model's deck. The design is consistent with that of the Ford, and the shape is more than 1,000 feet long. Work on this model began in November 2023, the War Zone reported in its review of past satellite imagery. So they're ramping up for war. An outline had been present for a while before a more detailed target was erected. Planet Labs also took additional pictures of additional targets, one of an apparent U.S. Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. Arleigh? Probably butchering that. Somebody will tell me. That had previously been a silhouette, but now looks to have structural improvements to match a destroyer. So they're getting ready. And all of this is believed to be for missile strike training. This is from satellite images that have previously documented what looked to be the models of U.S. warships in the area. In one instance, satellite images back in October 2021 captured what appeared to be a warship target on a rail system that could move back and forth. China's getting ready. Are we getting ready? No, our Secretary of Defense is just disappearing and not telling anybody for days while he goes into ICU. Our southern border is wide open, and we're letting these people come across. And let me remind you, the Biden administration watered down vetting of these Chinese nationals from 20 questions to 5. It's insane. It's insane. We are not ready to deal with China. And the fact that the southern border remains open is a weakness and a massive security risk in America. This Iranian illegal alien, he said it. Would they take our side or China's if something broke out in Taiwan? What if something direct broke out? They're training to fire missiles at our aircraft carriers. We all know what would happen. This guy talks about his route that he took to sneak into the country illegal, and he's asked, what would prevent terrorists from doing the exact same thing?
What was the route you took from Iran?
Come to Turkey, and Turkey to Mexico, Mexico to United
So
States.
what would prevent a terrorist from doing the same thing?
Nothing. Exactly nothing.
That's scary.
Real scary. I'm telling you, friend, if you see the Europe, the people, politician in Europe is sleeping now. Well, don't be offended, but Joe Biden is sleeping at the moment.
It's terrible.
It's far more than terrible. Not for U.S., for the all of the war.
He said, in Europe, these politicians are sleeping, and I hate to break it to you, and I'm not trying to offend you, but Joe Biden is sleeping too. I mean, I know that you're listening to this station. I know you know Joe Biden's sleeping too. But this guy that snuck into our country says it's not just about being bad for America, it's bad for the world. And he has even more to say about the job Biden's doing. Take a look at the world.
Just look at the world. We have 3 wars. We have sanction. We have a recession in the entire planet. Everyone say I'm wrong, but if you like it or not, if a recession come in U.S., there will like a pandemic comes in all the countries, and Joe Biden is doing this. It's not good.
So Trump was better. You want Trump back in office?
Despite that they fears us, if you come, Trump is back, you will be deported. Yes, I want Trump back.
He said, despite the fears that if Trump comes back, I will get deported. yes, I would want Trump back.
Despite that they fears us, if you come, Trump is back, you will be deported. Yes, I want Trump back.
Wow. That's a powerful statement.
Despite that, because he just create. We have a sentence in our country. That means a lot for this moment. I say it in Persian. Then I will rephrase it in English for you. We say آنکه با مادر خود زنا کند با دیگران چها کند. That means if someone betray his family and his mother, just think about that, what he can do with the others.
Crazy. Powerful interview from a guy that snuck into the country illegally. Joe Biden's asleep. And despite the fact that Trump would probably deport him, he wants Trump back. I kind of like this guy. Maybe he can stay.
Reagan once told the people of the world, we are the last stand against falling into democracy. If U.S. falls, everyone falls.
Pretty based.
Wow. How concerned, so you're a secular, I was speaking to some of these guys from Turkey, the same thing, they're fleeing. How bad is Islam for the world?
How much you want me to be straight?
As straight as you can be.
It's terrible. It's the new virus. The wave of virus is coming, and you cannot prevent it like this. If you think people from radical jihadist Islam and radical system of Islam coming to your country and they take an oath of U.S. citizen, and you think when they come a time that they have to take a side between Islam and U.S., you would be so naive if you think they take U.S. side.
I think this is one of the biggest points about why our wide open border is so dangerous. We are letting in known terrorists. We are letting in known Chinese nationals. You know, AOC calls for amnesty. Nancy Pelosi says we have to respect asylum. But listen, when we were letting people in legally, the whole point was that they would assimilate into American culture. The people that are coming here don't want to assimilate into American culture. The 27,000 Chinese nationals that we've let in, I probably would be willing to bet that they don't want to assimilate into American culture. The radical Islamists that are coming through don't want to assimilate into our culture. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And it's what the Biden administration is allowing to happen on the southern border. We can all see it. Even the people that sneak in illegally see it. And this guy continues about radical Islam.
Their mind are dead. Once I asked one of my Islamist friend in Iran, he's a good guy. He's a very respected guy at my office. I asked him, if your prophet tells you have to detonate a nuclear bomb, what would you do? He said, if the prophet says, it means it comes from Allah, and I would do it. And I respond that you are one footstep away from being a terrorist. He don't believe me, but it's it.
Yeah.
Islam is terrible.
How many terrorists do you think we have in America now?
I don't have the numbers, but lots. It's about lots of terrorists. Just
a lot. A lot. Scary. A couple of people texting in. Brian texted in and said that illegal alien is based. 8212 said that's a guy that Customs and Border Patrol should vet and offer citizenship for a 5-year enlistment contract. I mean, if you guys think he's based, wait until you hear what he says about the Second Amendment.
People saying about America that America is not safe because of guns, but it's ridiculous. America is safe. America has the strongest democracy and politics because of the guns, because of your First and Second Amendment. America, guns don't kill people. Radicalists kill people.
Yeah.
Guns just do the action I wanted, not they.
Right.
No guns come, get a foot and kill people in a line. But Islamists will do. Islamists will come here, get the guns, get the C4 detonations, and kill people. They're not good. They're not good.
I mean, you know, there are people that are coming here because they love America. But, you know, it's like the left always says, if it saves one life, well, we can all agree that there's plenty that are coming here because they hate America. And they know that the way to get through is the wide open southern border. And that's what they're doing. We can all see it. Even the illegal aliens that are sneaking in that love this country, and that's why they're sneaking in, can see it. Let me take it from that guy. He said, you know, would you want Trump back? He's like, despite my fears that he would deport me, like, yeah, I want Trump back. It's 10:51 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Well, it's not clear if there's going to be any consequences for Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin not telling anybody he was in the hospital for 3 days. Hear from the White House National Security Council spokesperson coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
10:58 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I was getting a text from this guy 0930, and I was like, Mac, is this guy mad at me? So we were talking about the illegal alien Iranian, and he said, being a person who served in the military for 39 years as an infantry intelligence analyst, wonder if you've heard of a term called baited ambush. This Iranian knows too much and is winning you over too easily. I said, I have not heard the term, but I can guess what it means. And I said, fill me in. He said, I can't. I'm on the highway, driving a company, hotshot. He's speaking a lot of information that an average citizen wouldn't know much about in Iran, so I worry about him and his intent. Good comment. But I was like, did I say something that made me sound like a hotshot? And then
hotshot.
I was like, are you angry at me? He's like, no, I'm not angry. I was like, okay, the hotshot comment threw me off. He said, hotshot, the small truck flatbed. I'm like, oh. Not a hotshot. Just an idiot.
Yeah, that was too intricate.
Oh, my, way too intricate for me, 0930. Appreciate your text at 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. It is not clear if there will be consequences for Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin failing to inform the White House for days he had been in the hospital, intensive care unit for that matter. White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby on board Air Force One this morning ahead of President Biden's trip to South Carolina.
Our main focus right now is on Secretary Austin's health.
He's apparently still in the hospital. He and Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, talking about Kirby here, say President Biden's looking forward to Austin's healthy recovery and his return to the Pentagon. Right now in Nashville, a murder suspect is in custody. Metro Police say 43-year-old Corey Frazier in custody and charged with criminal homicide for the shooting death of Richard Wilder. Wilder was found dead at the wheel of a wrecked pickup truck on Brickchurch Pike just 2 days before Christmas. And election 2024, with just 1 week to go until the Iowa primary, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, once confident he would win Iowa over former President Trump, appears to downplay his possible performance while speaking with ABC's Rachel Scott today, saying he'll do well, but promises regardless of his placing in Iowa, he's prepared to continue the campaign.
I'd like to be the underdog, so I'm just letting that sit. Let people say what they want.
But do you believe you can win?
We've done it right, and we're gonna do well.
Republican candidates blitzing through Iowa trying to catch former President Trump, who's 30 points ahead. America's next big adventure in space is underway. The first lunar launch in 50 years today.
We have good hydraulic pressure on both engines. Good chamber pressure on both engines. Everything looking good.
Until moments ago, when Astrobotic Technology announced landing on the moon is in jeopardy due to a propulsion problem preventing the spacecraft from turning toward the sun for power. This brand new rocket called the Vulcan is supposed to touch down on the moon on February 23rd. We'll see. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
11:05 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Appreciate you guys on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. I'm just like chatting with the homies. You know what I mean? Going back and
for
forth
real.
with you guys. Brian said, I'm going to call one day when there's beeping going on behind me. I'm no different than the other gentleman that calls you all the time. Yeah. That's Dave in Hendersonville.
Dave in
right?
Hendersonville, yeah.
There's always beeping going on when he calls him.
Dave's great.
And I saw Todd. Todd has his day off today, and he's been listening since 9.
Oh, he was here on time.
He was here, I think he was here early.
He got the memo. Show starts at 9.
Show starts at 9, Todd.
Let's go.
We appreciate you guys always listening to us while you work. We know that you guys literally work much harder than us. And we truly, truly appreciate the work that you do. Thank you for taking us with you wherever you go with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. Our boy Fletch, he listens to us while he's cleaning the skyscrapers in Nashville. We know you guys have harder jobs than us, and we just want to do our best to try and keep you entertained and informed throughout the day. I had a text earlier. It's like, thanks for making us laugh. It's hard, though, because the news is like wild. It's kind of scary, and it's like, yeah, it's the truth. And I try not to get angry. I'm sure you know that by now if you listen. I think there's only been one time I really got angry and yelled about stuff on the air, but I try to just goof off and laugh and keep you entertained as opposed to, pumping the demoralization. Like let's let the left pump the demoralization and let's pump the hopium. That's what I'm going for. So we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate you on the Super Text line, 615-737-9986. Phone lines are open for you as well. One of the big stories that's happening is word on the street is that there's a report that Obama, you remember him? You know Obama, right? He's not too impressed with the Biden campaign. Not too impressed at all. Kristen Welker over the weekend had a report that just said just that. Obama is not impressed with Joe Biden's campaign.
As President Biden ramps up his general election campaign, there are new warning signs. The Washington Post reporting former President Obama has raised questions about the structure of President Biden's reelection campaign. Two sources confirmed to NBC News that Obama and Biden met over lunch in December and discussed the campaign, with Obama expressing deep concern about Mr. Trump's political strength. Underscoring the urgency, one source telling me this is an all-hands-on-deck moment.
Yeah, I'd be concerned, too, if I was Obama. It's not looking good. The only thing he can lean on is that orange man bad. Here's the excerpt from the Washington Post story that I took away. It says, during the lunch, and here's the other thing I do want to point out. A lot of these stories, it's always people close to them said, sources said. So it could be absolute crap. And it's the Washington Post. There's an ABC story going around about Trump and J6 that I think is also absolute crap. So I'll preface it with that. But here's what the Washington Post story said. During the lunch, Obama noted the success of his reelection campaign structure in 2012, when some of his top presidential aides, including David Axelrod and Jim Messina, left the White House to take charge of the reelection operation in Chicago. That is a sharp contrast from Biden's approach of leaving his closest aides at the White House, even though they are involved in all the key decisions made by the campaign. Obama also recommended that Biden seek counsel from Obama's own former campaign aides, which Biden officials say they have done. The people said. See, there's the qualifier. The people said. Sources said. Nobody's putting their name on this. Obama has been even more explicit with the people close to Biden, suggesting the campaign needs to move aggressively as Trump appears poised to quickly wrap up the Republican nomination. His concerns about the campaign structure were not tied to a specific moment, but rather his belief that the campaigns need to be agile in competitive races, the people said, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss confidential conversations. So this story could be just garbage. But there's probably a little bit of truth to it. It would make sense that Obama's nervous about Biden's campaign. The one thing I think is funny is that Ron DeSantis and Nikki, apparently this happened back in April this alleged lunch between Obama and Biden. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley still think that they have a shot to, win the presidency. Obama back then said, yeah, this is going to be a wrap. Trump appears poised to quickly wrap up the Republican nomination. Quickly. It's trending in that direction. Obama knows it if this report is true. And so that's making the rounds. A junior Biden campaign spokesman, Quentin Folks, he kind of pushed back against this on Meet the Press and says, this campaign's rocking.
Campaigns see this warning by former President Obama as a wake-up call. Will there be structural changes to the campaign?
Look, our campaign has been awake since the president announced in April, which is why we've come out the gate swinging. It's why we've put innovative organizing programs in place to begin to communicate with voters on the ground.
He's like, nah, we're good. Campaign's solid. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. But you ask other Democrats, and they are worried. Democratic Rep. Clyburn was on with Jake Tapper, and he says, well, we've been saying a lot lately. Since I really started the show, I've been saying this, that Joe doesn't have the support in the black community that Obama had, and he's losing it quickly. The open border affects the black community first. They're competing for jobs. The crime in the inner cities affects the black community. That's Joe Biden's and Soros's radical DA's policy. Letting these people out with no bail, low bail, all the things. When you see reports like we played a little while ago where crime is ruining D.C. stores, you can't even go into a Target if you're under 18 unless you're accompanied by an adult. These inner cities are falling apart, and they know that the lack of justice from the top is affecting this. So he's losing the black vote. We've long said it. And there needs to be changes to his campaign, because it's failing. He's losing these key groups. Well, Rep. Clyburn talked with Jake Tapper about the black vote.
How worried are you about black voters showing up for President Biden in November?
Well, I'm not worried. I'm very concerned, and I have sat down with President Biden. I don't know. I saw those reports. I've also seen at least one report indicating that I have sat down with President Biden, and I did.
Oh. So he said, I'm not worried. I'm actually very concerned. And then he said, I also saw a report that I sat down with Joe Biden, and I did.
I've also seen at least one report indicating that I have sat down with President Biden, and I did.
Rep. Clyburn's, he should retire. Is there any value in this statement, Mac?
I've also seen at least one report indicating that I have sat down with President Biden, and I did.
Why do you need to mention the report indicating that you sat down with him if you did? You just say, I've sat down with Joe Biden.
With him, and I've told him what my concerns are. I have no problem with the Biden administration and what it has done. My problem is that we have not been able to break through that MAGA wall in order to get to people exactly what this president has done.
They always say that we haven't explained what we haven't been able to explain what we've done, and it's like, bro, you're on TV, explain it. Tell the people instead of saying we haven't done a good job explaining it and using your TV time to say I've seen reports and I took a meeting with Joe Biden and I did. Use the time to explain what you've done, please, by all means, Rep. Clyburn. But the simple fact is they've done nothing. He said, we haven't been able to break through the MAGA wall. Oh, truth. You haven't been able to fool people.
That MAGA wall.
They haven't built the MAGA wall either. They just sold all the supplies. And people are flooding in across the southern border, and it's hurting the black community first. And they'll just say, but hey, did I remind you, Orange Man bad in democracy, right?
Say the line, Bart.
Democracy is on the ballot.
I mean, that's all they got. They don't have anything else. Say the line. Orange Man bad. Democracy's on the ballot. Crazy.
I saw a report that snow is real. And It in fact is. So it's.
Thanks, Mac.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So dumb.
I like it. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Biden voters like.
By the way, I haven't gotten an apology yet for that. I check my messages every day when I come home from work. My answering machine, zero. I got a blinking light because I don't have from you.
No apology yet. No apology from the Biden voters. Democrats do have instant regret about voting for Biden and the policies that come with him. The wide open border. There's a mayor in New Jersey who's like, yo, why are these illegal aliens here?
I want to make it clear that our position here in Edison Township is that they're not welcomed here. I had directed my police department as well as my emergency management to charter a bus that would take them straight back to the other side of the border if they were to actually try to come out.
Democrats have buyer's remorse. I didn't have the whole clip, but right after that, they have a priest on the local news channel and goes, why would he be so racist? Yeah. Attack his character, not the actual issue at hand. The border is insane. Oh, why wouldn't a mayor in New Jersey want illegal aliens in New Jersey? Why? So racist. Well, there's a story from the Post Millennial. On Saturday, a fight broke out in East Village of New York City when one illegal immigrant attempted to cut in front of 400 other illegal aliens at a local migrant center. According to the New York Post, 2 cops were injured in this fight. 2 men were arrested as a melee on East 7th Street Center. Witnesses said that one man attempted to sneak into the line of those waiting for access to the center, spilling his coffee on some in the process. One man punched the person trying to skip the line, and others jumped in. The 2 officers suffered minor injuries to their faces and knees when they stepped in to break up the fight and keep the crowd back. Who wouldn't want this in their community? They're just seeking a better life. One immigrant from Mexico, illegal alien, Samantha Hernandez, 27, told the outlet, people were punching each other and fighting. A lot of people. I think they were desperate about the situation. It's very bad. There are too many people, and there's not a lot of opportunities for us here. And the city treats us like animals. You could go home. You could go home. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is raising alarms over how bad the illegal alien crisis in his sanctuary city is. In an interview last week, he told Fox 5, we're out of room, literally. I've been saying that anytime people want to move from Davidson County to Rutherford County. I know that feeling. Out of room. This city's full. Said people are eventually going to be sleeping in the streets, Eric Adams said. We have never witnessed this level of migration in this hemisphere. We are being inundated. And we have now moved to another phase of saying all of those services that you're talking about. We're down to food, shelter, clothing. That's it. Just the basics. He's not going full California where you can get health care if you're an illegal alien and gender-affirming surgery. This is a Cali thing. Adams is also complaining that the federal government is not helping cities deal with the crisis. He said, our insurance policy was the federal government. They're not paying us. Huh. Your insurance policy was Joe Biden as an administration. That's your first mistake right there, sir. He went on to say we underestimated the impact of the migrant and asylum seeker issue that's been impacting major cities in this country. When asked about getting help from the Biden administration, he said, I believe that we are not seeing that. Buyer's remorse from the Democrats. Buyer's remorse. Are you surprised? Seriously. I'm not shocked that these people have buyer's remorse. And Donald Trump in Iowa over the weekend on January 6th, he's not shocked about what you're seeing.
Under crooked Joe Biden, our borders have been absolutely erased. Millions of illegal aliens are invading from all over the world, are invading. It's like a military invasion. It might as well be a military invasion. But they're invading our country. Our middle class is being crushed by Biden's crippling inflation. Violent criminals are running wild in Democrat-run cities.
And Democrats go, how could Orange Man do this? Democracy is on the ballot, right? It's 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. And don't forget, you can take us wherever you go with the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. You just have to search for Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Say the line, Bart.
Democracy is on the ballot.
Got several cars that have crashed, blocking the way 24 eastbound in Jolton. It looks like the right shoulder is blocked. Also, the east right lane and the right shoulder blocked there, 24 eastbound through Jolton. Former President Trump moves to get the Georgia election interference case dismissed, and it's not looking good for a test run to put Americans on the moon. These stories are more at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So we were talking about Nikki Hurley. Sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. Nikki Haley. How she's surging. Remember that?
Surging.
She's surging. Apparently, there was supposed to be a campaign event in Iowa. And this tweet came out. Let's check it on the Nikki Haley campaign.
You look around me, technically this is an event that was supposed to start in the last few minutes, and of course it's empty. You've got empty chairs, stuff packed up in the corner, and signs just hanging on the wall. The only way you'd know that Nikki Haley was supposed to be here, they canceled this event just a few minutes ago.
That's a surge, baby.
Can't be stopped.
Oh my gosh. Can't be bothered. It's literally an empty restaurant.
Oh, yikes.
And MSNBC is there.
Oh.
And they canceled the event.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe, I know she texts me all the time. Maybe she texts everybody.
She'll text you what's going on.
Like, sorry, guys. I got a tickle in my throat and you got to cancel it. And everybody knew.
Ooh.
It is MSNBC, so take it with a grain of salt. Could be fake news. There's one guy in the restaurant who's like, what are you doing here? Like, looking at the MSNBC reporter. Like, I'm just trying to eat my lunch.
Golly, that's a bad look.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Well, she's got a good social media team, so they'll make this look better.
Her social media team is atrocious. I think the only one with a worse social media team is Ron DeSantis, because they just don't know how to lean into a joke and have fun. They're just angry. But, yeah. She's got a town hall tonight on Fox News.
Ooh.
You excited about that?
Oh, yeah. Cleared my schedule.
So this is one of those things where, like, the last debate, she only posted one highlight clip. Remember that?
Yeah.
How many highlight clips? What's the over-under on highlight clips from the town hall tonight? She'll probably post a few.
Yeah, 1.5's the over-under, yeah.
1.5's the over-under. Dude, and, like, it makes me laugh because there's the big football game tonight, Redskins-Lions, right?
Yes. Yeah, Redskins and Lions. Yeah, let's go with that. Sure.
Yeah, they haven't been in the championship in a while.
Of course.
So they got the championship game tonight. And, like, even Fox News. So Fox News is doing 3 nights of town halls. And they got Nikki Haley on same night as Redskins-Lions. And then they got DeSantis on tomorrow night.
Activate hand gesture.
Yep. They're going to be activating hand gestures tomorrow night. And then they have Trump on Wednesday to counter-program the DeSantis-Nikki Haley debate on CNN.
Oh, man.
Do you think she's going to be able to draw a crowd for the Fox News town hall? And then if there is a crowd, it's probably going to be all donors.
Yeah.
And then with the ones that showed up, it's like WCW at the end of its run. Like, the people are going to be like giving away free tickets for this.
Oh, yeah.
Are they showing up because it's a TV show on Fox News, or are they showing up because they want to see Nikki Haley?
Yeah, it's probably the former.
Do you think she's going to get roasted by anybody in the audience?
Bingo.
I hope that they do like a Q&A portion.
Ooh, yeah. Give me that.
Her campaign's probably like, no Q&As.
No.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited.
No, it's going to be fantastic.
Who you got? Redskins-Lions tonight.
Redskins-Lions. Yeah, long time since they've been in the championship, the college championship, let alone
It's
long
weird.
time.
It's the
Super
craziest
weird
thing. Who you got?
Rooting for Washington.
All right.
Rooting for Washington, but I think Michigan will win.
Okay.
But let's go Washington.
All right.
Mullen, Huskies. Excuse me, Redskins.
Redskins. I was a little bit disappointed that your Chiefs pulled out a win.
1 point.
1 point. And I wasn't able to end the football season with a song for you.
Yes. Let's go.
And now it's like, now when you lose in the playoffs, like the song I bring is going to be actually painful for you.
No, I'm not going to like it at all.
No.
Nope. We'll not have fun during that.
The super texters will.
No, that was where my giving, generous heart will come out, because I won't mute your mic. I'll let the super texters have a good time. All while, but hopefully that won't have to happen, right? Maybe we've heard our last sad song of the year.
It seems like you're already pretty reserved that you're going to get a sad song at some point.
Maybe. Yeah.
One man's sad song is another man's happy song. It's 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver. Oh, wait. It's 11:30. Did I say 10:30?
It is 11:30.
I'm not even in Arizona. I'm messing up the time. 2023. Here's Ken Weaver in the news.
It is 11:30, Brother Chris. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Again, I want to remind you of that crash affecting eastbound 24 in Jolton. You got the right lane and the shoulder blocked. Lawyers for former President Donald Trump have failed to have the Georgia have filed, that is, to have the Georgia election interference case thrown out, saying he is immune from prosecution. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
The immunity arguments just now being entered in the Georgia racketeering case are similar to the ones Donald Trump has been making in federal court here in Washington. His attorneys say DA Fani Willis is going after him for acts that, quote, lie at the heart of his official responsibilities as president. The lawyers also argue the case violates Trump's due process rights, saying he lacked fair notice that his election advocacy could get him charged with a crime in Georgia.
Right now in Tennessee, state House members considering changes to rules of order today, one day before the General Assembly reconvenes. These rules will determine time limits and set procedure for how members debate bills this year. Not looking good for America's first lunar launch in 50 years. The privately built Peregrine robotic lunar lander carrying a variety of scientific payloads provided by NASA and other space agencies has propulsion issues, making it impossible to turn toward the sun for power. This is a sort of test run for NASA's crewed Artemis moon mission scheduled for launch in November. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey folks, I'm Paul Winkler. One of the things I've been hearing a lot from people lately is the concern about the dollar crashing. And you'll see this out there on the internet all over the place, articles written about it. And the idea is that the Russian and Chinese, those countries are looking at getting together and creating their own currency that will compete against the US dollar as a reserve currency. Now, for many, many decades, there have been other currencies that have been trying to vie for that status. And there's a possibility that you're going to have some that are going to encroach on that a little bit. But is it that big of a thing to worry about? Well, number one, last year, the Chinese currency made up very little of any kind of world trade, number one. But what is it that's really going on underneath the surface? A lot of it is trying to sell you newsletters and investments that you probably ought to stay away from. For example, one of the things I see is, well, you ought to buy gold because the dollar's going to crash. And you see all of these commercials out there, and I say, well, wait a minute, wait. They're trying to get you to buy gold with your what? They're looking to take your dollars. If they really believe what they're saying, why would they take your dollars for their gold? Number one. Number two, how do you protect yourself against these valuation changes in various currencies? Well, let me explain it this way. Let's say that you had a currency called the clam. Okay, and you had a country that had one clam and you could exchange it for $1 at any one point in time. Let's say that that's the case. And you had a widget that was sold by this country and you could buy that widget in that country for one clam. So you take your $1, you exchange it for a clam, and then you got your widget. Now what if the dollar weakens? Well, what happens, now this clam is the same, right? Nothing different here. It's the same deal. But instead of $1, now it takes $2 to get the clam. Now, what happened? Your widget just doubled in price from your perspective as an American. Well, how do we use this to our advantage? As an investor, we want to make sure that we don't just myopically only focus on U.S. stocks. And that's a big mistake investors made from 2000 through 2010 and other periods in history, in the 1970s, the late 1980s, and so on and so forth. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we have good international diversification, because if the dollar weakens, then those international investments go up in value. So it's very, very important to know how globally diversified you really are as an investor. You want to learn more? Call us up for a free 15-minute consultation at paulwinkler.com, paulwinkler.com, and we'll walk you through what we do and see if we can be of help to you, the investor out there that is so often being sold things that they really don't need to be buying.
I know you heard that weather report, and you're probably going to be planning ahead for the weather in the weeks to come. So if you take that much precaution with weather, why aren't you taking that kind of precaution with your financial future and planning ahead for retirement down the road? My name is Chris Hand, and I'm here for Paul Winkler, Inc. Now, I have 4 wonderful kids. Me and my wife, we didn't have a financial plan for the future, full disclosure. But it's never too late to start. And when we're thinking about paying for weddings down the road, hopefully for my girls, college, if any of the kids want it, we needed to make sure that we had our ducks in a row. And I'm so glad I got to link up with Paul and his team at Paul Winkler, Inc. Now, they hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard. Because of that, I got to tell you I'm paid every time this commercial airs. That's the truth. But that's not why I'm a client of Paul's. I decided to become a client of Paul's because he could break things down for me in a way that I could understand it. So when we're making financial moves for my future, I know exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. Plus, with Paul's team, nothing they do is on commission. So I can be sure that the moves that they're telling me I need to make are for me and not for them. Because nothing is done on commission. They are big on education, though, and they have helped me navigate the financial world in a way that I didn't know was possible. He's made my goals way more realistic by explaining what to do and why, and the investment education they provide is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. So if you don't have a plan for your financial future, it's time to get one. Check these guys out. Every office is run by a degreed planner with over 20 years of experience, and you can feel the difference because of that experience. So do what I did. Talk to one of his team members. Set up a complimentary 15-minute phone call right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com, or call 615-851-1950.
You look around me, technically this is an event that was supposed to start in the last few minutes, and of course it's empty. You've got empty chairs, stuff packed up in the corner, and signs just hanging on the wall. The only way you'd know that Nikki Haley was supposed to be here. They canceled this event just a few minutes ago.
Nikki Haley surging in the polls. I mean, the surge is so historic that they don't even need to have a campaign event. They can cancel them. Epic. That was MSNBC reporting on Nikki Haley. Apparently, nobody showed up. Nobody came. Take it with a grain of salt. It's MSNBC. MSDNC, right? MSBSNC. I don't know. You can do other things. A lot of people texting in. I made the comment that Nikki Haley has a town hall tonight on Fox News. There's going to be 3 town halls. There's going to be Nikki Haley gets a town hall. It's like Oprah. You get it. Fox News is like Oprah. You get a town hall. You get a town hall. They didn't give one to Vivek. I didn't see that the Vivek had one. Too based. So Nikki Haley gets one tonight. Ron DeSantis tomorrow night. And then Trump on Wednesday to counter-program the debate with Nikki and Ron on CNN. I wonder the ratings on that. The overnight numbers. What do you think?
Oh, my gosh.
But it did make me, I laughed because, you know, there's the big championship game tonight, Redskins and Lions, and they put Nikki Haley on for her town hall tonight. What do you think is going to have better ratings?
Ooh.
The Nikki Haley debate, the Nikki Haley town hall on Fox, or the Ron Nikki debate on CNN? That is a good bet. Which one do you think?
I think Ron and Nikki.
You think that'll do better?
Yeah. You know what's funny is if you combined those ratings up to Redskins, Lions, wouldn't even touch it.
Yeah. Getting a lot of texts about the Redskins-Lions game. Who was it? I'm looking for the text.
Oh, wait, yeah. 9082.
9082 said Dallas played the Redskins yesterday. So it's not fair. It's not fair for them.
Yeah, I don't know why the scheduling, man.
Back-to-back games, and it's like you're going up to the championship?
How are you going to do that?
That's not
Not
cool.
make sense.
Doesn't make any sense. So that's why I don't, that's why I don't really pay much attention to sports.
Yeah, man.
It's rigged.
Yeah, seriously.
It's rigged. You got magnets in the balls and stuff, You've seen those TikToks. I know you have.
Of course. Oh, man.
When does your new sports podcast come out, Mac?
We debut on the Zone this week on the sister station website.
Congratulations
so,
on that. That's
excited.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, Mac's got they're working with the Zone, his sports podcast, Behind the Box Score. You got to go check it out. We love Mac, and hopefully you can support him with his sportscast. Is it a sportscast?
Sports pod.
It's a sports podcast.
Sports podcast. Yes, yes. Wherever you get your podcast. I appreciate it, bro. Yeah, having a great time.
No, it sounds great, and I listen to it. I learn a lot. Somebody said though you're probably going to come down with the boo-hoo flu at some point because of the Redskins Lions tonight.
Good thing because of Redskins Lions. Yeah, it's really good. Good thing the Chiefs game this weekend's on a Saturday, so I'll get over my boo-hoo flu Sunday. Be good to go Monday.
Perfect. Can't wait. And who are you guys playing again? Because I want to get that song ready.
You won't need to. We're winning this weekend. Okay.
Dolphins. You're losing.
Miami. No, we're not. I could have said any team. Chris would. You're losing.
Somebody's saying mean things about Trump on the super text line.
Oh,
and water's wet. Weird.
What did they say? Oh, I see it now.
5440. Trump thinks 5141. Trump thinks magnets are killed by water. Orange man dumb. I'm gonna send you a heart. Sent. Did you hear me talking to Mandis this morning about how to deal with mean super texters?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
Apparently, Dan Swartz somebody.
Whoa!
On the super text line.
You said it today. He was looking tough.
Get
out of his way today.
Would not have messed with him today.
Seriously.
And he swore at somebody. I said, you got to do this. Send him kissy faces and hearts.
Yeah, exactly.
way more angry.
And that gets them more heated as you just sit and smile. It's great.
Anthony's mentioning Brian Wilson. When Taylor Swift was coming to town, he was playing all these Taylor Swift songs.
That's exactly what I was saying, Anthony.
Yeah. Yep.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, Anthony, we were literally just talking about that. Jason says the Chiefs are going to get beat by a bunch of bleeping fish. Yeah.
Yeah.
John in Lawrenceburg is making fun of me for being Canadian. 0370 has been texting every topic that we have this morning. 0370 has been texting to ban it.
Oh, so you're right.
When I said terrorists are coming across the border, he said we need to ban terrorists.
Gotcha.
When I talked about shoplifting in D.C., he said ban shoplifting. And now he wants to ban the playoffs.
Ban the playoffs.
That way Mac doesn't miss any more work.
Oh, that's great.
So you guys are the best. All right. Well, there is some there is more to get to. I know we joke, we kid, but there's a lot going on. So we talked about the Obama, Biden, Washington Post story, and I said, it could be crap because they always come back to people speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss confidential conversations, right? So it's always unnamed sources. Well, ABC News is now running a hit piece on Donald Trump and his actions on that infamous day of January 6th, 2020, whatever it was. 2021? Yeah, 2021. So ABC ran this article discovering new details about Trump's inaction on January 6th. All of his inaction. So we have this article from ABC. And ABC is making the accusation that Trump orchestrated the whole thing. So here's the clip. The gist of it is that Trump didn't write the tweet telling rioters to stay peaceful. Dan Scavino did. They're saying after unsuccessfully trying for up to 20 minutes to persuade Trump to release some sort of calming statement, Scavino and others walked out of the dining room, leaving Trump alone, sources said. There it is again. Sources said. That's when, according to sources, Trump posted a message on his Twitter saying that Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done. Trump's aides told investigators they were shocked by the post. Aside from Trump, Scavino was the only other person with access to Trump's Twitter account, and he was often the one actually posting messages. So when the message popped up about Pence, White House attorney raced to find Scavino, demanding to know why he would post that in the midst of such a precarious situation. Sources said. Scavino said he was blindsided by the post as they were insisting to them, I didn't do it, according to the sources. Some of Trump's aides then returned to the dining room to explain to Trump that a public attack on Pence was not what was needed, as Scavino put it to Smith's team. But it's true, Trump responded. Sources told ABC News. It's all these statements. Sources said. Sources said. It's a hit piece. It's a hit piece. Sources said Scavino told Smith's investigator that as the violence began to escalate that day, Trump was not interested in doing more to stop it. Sources said. Sources also said former Trump aide Nick Luna told federal investigators that when Trump was informed that then Vice President Mike Pence had to be rushed to a secure location, Trump responded, "So what?" That part I could kind of believe. But it's all sources said, sources said, sources said. And this is what the media does. It's a hit job. And they ignore the fact that Trump said on the stage, march patriotically and peacefully. They ignore the fact that Trump posted a video of himself urging people to stop violence and go home. And they rely on all these sources and low information voters to believe this level of BS. Unbelievable. Actually, it is believable. It's ABC. The same network that shut down the Jeffrey Epstein story because they wanted to be able to cover the royal wedding. Oh, let's protect a notorious pedophile so we get coverage of the royal wedding. That's ABC. That's what ABC does. They care about ABC. They don't care about you. They don't care about the country. So they'll lie. And they'll hide behind anonymous sources. Anytime I read an article, I usually scan down to about the second or third paragraph. And you'll find something, especially if it's a hit piece, where it'll say, sources familiar with their thinking told us. Or sources close to the situation said. And that's usually how you know it's hot garbage. Sources said. According to sources, that's how you know it's hot garbage. That's it. According to sources familiar with my thinking. All right. Matt Murphy's going to join us in a minute here. Tell us what we can expect on Murphy's show today. He's got a big show. If you follow Matt Murphy's show on Twitter, you'll see what he's got planned. You can get the sneak peek. But he'll tell us what he's got coming up on the show today. Plus, we'll ask him his thoughts on the new statement that we've coined on the Chris Hand Show, Impeachment Eve.
Oh, yes.
We have to ask him about Impeachment
yes.
Eve. We have
I'm
to.
pumped.
We have to. It's 11. It's 11. Yeah, it's something like it has to be done.
It must be.
It must be. It's 11:48 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:54 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, joined by Matt Murphy in the nicest linen shirt.
I'm never telling you anything again. I told Hand my wife got mad at me for wearing this linen shirt. So watch on Super Talk TV and tell me if this was a fashion faux pas or not.
I wouldn't have even known it was linen.
I don't know that I knew it was linen either until I was told. And right now I'm getting in trouble as we speak. Getting in trouble as we speak. As we talk, my wife is yelling at the radio.
I feel like I have skeletons to clear up with Virginia then, because Matt's going to get me back for something.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Both going to be in the doghouse.
My wife and I are arguing. My wife and I, two grown people, are arguing about linen shirts in January. And Hand is having this in-depth conversation with his daughter.
Yeah. My
about
10-year-old.
who killed JFK. I mean, so.
The dad who killed JFK.
Who's the grown-up here?
Probably
Not
the
me.
government.
It's not me.
It's probably the government.
And he's their own. Wait, we hang out with a bunch of red-pilled parents. That's fun. It's cool. Like I
Which
know,
pill is that? Which one is that?
It's the good one. So
Okay,
then,
good. Okay.
I have one family, and they're like, they're a lot of their views align with us, and they're very anti-abortion, and so their kids will watch like anti-abortion documentaries. I'm like that's probably a bridge too far when she's 10.
The best word in that sentence was probably.
Probably. I don't want to knock it.
I think,
Like,
yeah, well,
like, you know what I mean?
I do. Let kids be kids. They have plenty of time to be grown-ups. But anyway,
yeah,
that's-
but if the conversation comes up organically, and then it's time to have the conversation, because if you don't have it when it occurs, then you're missing the opportunity to be the voice of reason in that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I completely default to you.
Yeah. So my kid asked about gay people and all that kind of stuff. It's like I wanted to have that conversation first, so that way it's not.
Do you tell them gay people don't exist?
Yep, they're like dinosaurs. So we had the conversation. You know what I mean? Like if she comes to me with a question, I'm gonna answer it as best I can.
No, that's good. No,
and as
that's what
honest
you
as I
should
can.
do.
So yeah, she said, who killed JFK? That's probably the government.
Have you had the conversation? It's a little. This is a good time to have this discussion because A, kids are in school, and B, it's post December. But have you had the SC conversation with any of your kids?
We had it with my daughter this year.
Yeah. So you just kind of wait. So is the rule in your house? You just wait for them to come to you with it. You kind of play with it, have fun with it.
We saw it trending in that direction because of friends,
right?
And she was one of the last ones to believe.
Yeah.
So we just sat her down and said, you're asking a lot of questions. We know you're kind of suspicious. It's us.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
I found out when I was 6. That's bad. It was bad. Well,
that's harsh.
I figured it out because I saw something. I woke up and saw some things going on that I was not supposed to see. And then later that day, there was all this proclamation about who was responsible. And I'm like, wait a minute. What? That's a blow to hooey.
So I don't remember how I found out about it, but I remember my sister finding out about it. My little sister, she came in and she's like, I got to lay this on you.
Hey,
she's
man,
she's like, it ain't real. And
you might want to sit down.
And I went, yeah. And her face dropped because she thought she was bringing the news to me. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I said, did they tell you about the Easter Bunny too? And she just went,
What?
What?
Yeah. That's pretty good. I've always wondered, and I'll never get an opportunity to know, I don't suppose, but I've always wondered how I'd handle those situations because that's tricky because I don't want to destroy the innocent goodness of being a child and that magic that occurs with that or just being a kid and not knowing about abortion, right?
Yeah.
Not being exposed to the awfulness in this world is a wonderful thing. But at the same time, you want to be honest.
Well, there's Jordan Peterson thing that always resonates with me as a parent. He's like, in the story of Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent crashed the gates because she wasn't invited to the baby shower.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you have to invite some evil in or it's going to storm the gates.
Mm-hmm.
And that always resonated with me. So, like, when you have those opportunities to have that conversation, take it. So that way you're the first one having that conversation with them.
Is that a Disney reference?
Yeah,
See, I don't let
Sleeping
that in.
Beauty.
I don't let that in.
Yeah. I don't either anymore. All right. It's 11:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What do you got coming up? Anything fun?
Cameron Sexton coming up, Marsha Blackburn coming up, and other fun stuff.
Hang out with us at Super Talk 99.7 WTN.